She glanced at Adewumi's lifeless form one last time before covering him completely with the duvet. The city of Oshobo buzzed with excitement. A grand wedding between Adeola, the elegant daughter of a wealthy merchant, and Adewumi, the most eligible bachelor, had just concluded. Their union had been the talk of the town for months. The couple looked perfect, Adeola radiant in her flowing white gown, and Adewumi resplendent in his ceremonial agbada. Friends and family showered them with blessings as they made their way to their marital home. Behind her serene smile, Adela's mind was a storm of conflicting emotions. That night would be the culmination of a long-standing plan, a plan that only she knew. Their marital home was a luxurious mansion on the outskirts of Oshobo. The city skyline sparkled in the distance as they entered the grand bedroom, its walls adorned with golden patterns and dimly lit chandeliers casting a soft glow. Adewumi opened a bottle of expensive wine, pouring them each a glass. "To us," he toasted, raising his glass. Adeola smiled coyly, clinking her glass with his. As they sipped the wine, Adeola watched Adewumi closely. She admired his sharp jawline, his confident demeanor. How could someone so perfect carry such dark secrets? "Are you nervous?" Adewumi asked, placing his hand gently over hers. "It's just us now, no more crowds." "Not nervous," Adeola replied, her voice steady, "just overwhelmed by everything." Her fingers brushed against the hidden dagger beneath her bridal robe. Adewumi moved closer, his face inches from hers. "Adeola, do you remember the first day we met?" "Of course," she replied, her smile never wavering. "You were charming and persistent. I knew from that day you were the one for me," Adewumi confessed, leaning in for a kiss. Adeola reciprocated briefly, her mind racing. She thought about the months she had spent digging into his past. The secret she unearthed had changed everything. "Tell me," Adeola began, pulling back slightly. "What is your biggest regret, Adewumi?" Adewumi's brow furrowed, caught off guard by the sudden question. "Regret? On our wedding night." "Humor me," she said, tilting her head. Adewumi hesitated before replying, perhaps trusting the wrong people in the past. "But that's behind me now," agreed, taking another sip of his wine. "And I trust you completely, Adeola. You're my wife now." Adeola smiled faintly. "Yes, your wife," she murmured, her heart pounding as her fingers brushed against the hilt of the dagger. The room fell silent, save for the soft hum of the air conditioner. Adeola took a deep breath. The moment was near. "Do you believe in karma, Adewumi?" she asked suddenly, her voice cool and measured. "Karma?" Adewumi chuckled. "Why the philosophical questions, my love?" "Humor me," Adeola repeated, her gaze piercing into his. Adewumi shrugged. "I suppose I do. What goes around comes around, right?" Adela's eyes darkened. "Then tell me, Adewumi, do you think karma will come for you one day?" The question sent a chill down his spine. "Why are you asking me this, Adeola? Is something bothering you?" "You tell me," she said, her tone sharper now. "Is there something you should be confessing?" Adewumi's face paled. He set down his glass, the atmosphere growing tense. "What are you implying?" Adewumi asked, his voice defensive. Adeola rose from the bed, her robe flowing like a dark cloud around her. "Implying? I'm asking, Adewumi. What did you do to my sister?" The words hit him like a thunderbolt. His eyes widened in shock. "Your sister? What are you talking about?" Adela's hand gripped the dagger tightly now. 4 years ago, you were involved in a case of abuse and betrayal. A young woman left to die. Does that ring a bell? Adewumi stumbled back, his voice shaking. "Adeola, I don't know what you're talking about." Don't lie to me," she snapped, her voice echoing in the grand room. "My sister, Jumok. She trusted you, loved you, and you destroyed her." Realization dawned on Adewumi. "Jumok, she." His voice faltered as he pieced the connection together. "She was my blood," Adeola screamed, tears streaming down her face. And you used her for your gain, then left her broken and humiliated. Adewumi tried to approach her, his hands raised in defense. Adeola, please, I can explain. It wasn't like that. Oh, really? She spat, backing away. Tell that to the girl who drowned herself because of you. Adewumi froze, guilt washing over his features. She took her own life. Yes, Adeola hissed, the pain of her sister's death fueling her rage. And I swore on her grave that I would make you pay. This was never about love, Adeola confessed, her voice trembling. This was about justice. For Jumok. Adeola, listen to me, Adewumi pleaded. I was young, reckless. I didn't mean to hurt her. Save your excuses, she shouted, the dagger gleaming in her hand. You think you can charm your way out of this like you always do. Adewumi's confidence crumbled as he saw the determination in her eyes. Please, Adeola, don't do this. I'm sorry. Adeola stared at him, her hand trembling as she clutched the dagger. Sorry? Sorry won't bring my sister back, she hissed. Adeola, killing me won't bring her back either, Adewumi said, his voice cracking. We can work through this. Please don't let anger consume you. Her laughter rang cold and hollow in the room. Work through it, like how you worked through Jamok, betraying her, breaking her spirit, leaving her for dead. Adewumi fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. I swear I didn't know she would. I didn't mean for it to happen. For a moment, Adeola hesitated, her grip loosening. Memories of her sister flooded her mind. Jamok's laughter, her dreams of a happy future, and the despair in her final days. But then, as though fueled by an unseen force, her resolve hardened. She had carried this plan for too long to falter now. You didn't mean for it to happen, she repeated, her voice chillingly calm. But it did. And now you'll face the consequences. Adewumi crawled toward her, desperation in his eyes. Adeola, I'll do anything. I'll make amends. Please, give me a chance. She stepped back, avoiding his reach. You don't get to beg for mercy after the lives you've destroyed. The dagger gleamed in the dim light, and Adewumi's eyes fixated on it, his face filled with dread. Think about your soul, Adeola. Don't let revenge consume you. My soul, she scoffed. You should have thought about your own soul when you ruined Jamok's. As he lunged forward, trying to disarm her, Adeola sidestepped with unexpected agility, her movements swift and precise. The dagger struck with unerring accuracy. Blood blossomed like a dark flower on his white agbada as he gasped in pain, collapsing onto the polished floor. Adeola stared at her trembling hands, the dagger now smeared with crimson. The gravity of her actions weighed on her, but there was no turning back. Adewumi's voice was barely a whisper now. Why, Adeola, I loved you. You don't know what love is, she replied coldly, stepping over his lifeless form. The room fell into a haunting silence, save for the faint hum of the air conditioner. Adeola stood still, her mind racing with the magnitude of what she had done. She cleaned the dagger with calculated precision, wrapping it in a cloth and hiding it beneath her robe. Her face transformed into an expression of calm resolve. She walked toward the window and stared out at the city lights, her mind already planning her next steps. The sound of footsteps outside the door startled her. A knock followed. Madam, is everything okay? A voice called. Everything's fine, Adeola replied, her voice steady. We're just getting ready for the night. She quickly dragged Adewumi's body onto the bed and covered him with the duvet. His blood pooled beneath, staining the pristine sheets. The door creaked open slightly as one of the housemaids peeked in. Are you sure, madam? Adeola forced a smile. Yes, we're just tired. Please ensure no one disturbs us for the rest of the night. The maid nodded and left, closing the door. Adeola sighed, her heartbeat echoing in her ears. She sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the motionless figure beneath the duvet. Memories of her sister's laughter intermingled with the gruesome reality before her. The silence grew deafening, and the weight of her actions began to seep into her. Jumok, she whispered, I did this for you. But guilt, like an unrelenting shadow, crept into her mind. Had she truly avenged her sister, or had she damned herself in the process? Morning came, and the sun's rays pierced through the curtains. The vibrant city outside seemed unaware of the tragedy that had unfolded. A loud knock startled Adeola. "Madam, the family is here to check on the couple." Her blood ran cold. She hadn't planned for this. "I will be down soon," she stammered, trying to maintain composure. She glanced at Adewumi's lifeless form one last time before covering him completely with the duvet. With shaking hands, she adjusted her bridal robe, ensuring there was no trace of blood on her. She walked out of the room, her heart pounding in her chest. The living room was filled with their families, all smiles and laughter. "Where's the groom?" someone asked. "He's resting," Adeola replied, her voice strained but steady. Little did she know, Adewumi's younger brother, who had grown suspicious of her motives before the wedding, had secretly installed a camera in the bedroom. The truth was about to surface. Unknown to Adeola, the younger brother, Femi, had been monitoring the hidden camera feed. His instincts about her had been right, but he hadn't anticipated such a gruesome act. Back in his car parked a few streets away, Femi's hands trembled as he replayed the footage. Every detail, the confrontation, the dagger, the lifeless body, was etched into the recording. Rage and grief warred within him. Adewumi, his beloved brother, was gone, and the woman who was supposed to bring joy into their family had brought only death. Femi called the family elder, his voice shaking. "Uncle, there's something you need to see. It's about Adeola and Adewumi. Don't let anyone leave the house." Meanwhile, Adeola tried to maintain her composure. She mingled with the family, her smiles forced, her responses curt. Adewumi's mother, Mama Titi, frowned. "Adeola, you look pale. Are you sure you're okay? And where is my son?" "This isn't like him to miss a family gathering. He's just tired," Adeola said quickly, glancing at the staircase. "The wedding took a toll on him. He'll join us soon." But Mama Titi's intuition nagged at her. She pulled Adeola aside. "What's going on, my dear? If there's trouble, you can tell me." Before Adeola could respond, the front door burst open. Femi strode in, his face dark with anger, holding a tablet in his hand. "Everyone, stop what you're doing," he announced, his voice trembling. "There's something you all need to see." Confused murmurs filled the room as the family gathered around. Adela's heart raced, her palms sweaty. "What's the meaning of this, Femi?" asked the family elder, looking sternly at him. Femi placed the tablet on the coffee table and pressed play. Gasps erupted as the footage unfolded. The confrontation, the confession, the fatal blow. Every horrifying detail was laid bare. Mama Titi collapsed onto the couch, wailing. "No, my son, Adewumi." Adeola stood frozen, her blood turning cold. Her carefully crafted facade crumbled under the weight of the evidence. The family turned to her, their faces a mixture of shock, disgust, and fury. "Is this true?" the elder demanded. "Did you kill him?" Adela's lips trembled as she struggled for words. He killed my sister," she finally screamed. "I did what I had to do for Jumok." "You had no right." Mama Titi sobbed. "No right to take justice into your own hands." The room descended into chaos, voices overlapping, emotions running high. Femi called the police, unable to contain his anger any longer. "You'll pay for this, Adeola," he said coldly. "You won't walk away from what you've done." The police arrived within minutes, and Adeola was taken away in handcuffs. She walked with her head held high, defiant to the end. "You can all hate me," she said as they escorted her out. "But I did what none of you had the courage to do. I avenged Jumok." The family watched in stunned silence as the police car disappeared down the street. The joyous occasion had turned into a nightmare. Femi clenched his fists, his heart heavy. Justice had been served, but at what cost? Days turned into weeks, and the story spread like wildfire across the city. People debated whether Adeola was a hero or a villain, her actions dividing opinions. In prison, Adeola remained resolute. She had avenged her sister, even if it meant losing her freedom. But at night, in the solitude of her cell, doubts crept in. Had she truly honored Jumok's memory, or had she allowed anger to consume her? The family struggled to heal. Adewumi's death left a void that no amount of time could fill. Mama Titi visited Adeola in prison, her face lined with grief. "I loved you like a daughter," she said softly. "Why didn't you come to us? We could have found another way." Tears streamed down Adela's face, but she said nothing. There was no justification that could undo the pain she had caused. Femi took over the family business, his once vibrant personality dulled by the tragedy. He vowed never to let his guard down again. The city moved on, but the story of the wedding night murder lingered in its collective memory, a cautionary tale of love, betrayal, and vengeance. Years later, Adeola wrote a letter to the family. In it, she expressed her regret, not for what she had done, but for the pain it had caused them. "I acted out of love for my sister," she wrote, "but in seeking justice, I became the very thing I despised. For that, I am sorry." The family read the letter in silence, each of them grappling with their feelings. Forgiveness seemed impossible, but so did holding on to hatred forever. In the end, Adela's story became a legend, a haunting reminder of the thin line between justice and vengeance, love and obsession. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and turn on the notification bell by clicking on all to watch all our interesting videos.